I first met my co-host when she had a syndicated talk show all about sex. Sex with Sue McGarvie. And I am the milkman John Milky, host of The Milkman Show, heard on radio stations across North America. And my home base, blasttheradio.com. We're glad you're here. Let's get turned on. There she is, Sue McGarvie. Great to connect with you again for Turned On, the podcast.
Hey, darling. It's going to be great. So Valentine's was fun. Super Bowl was fun. I got an email about it. I'm so excited. Sue at sexwithsue.com if you want to email us. But I got one.
You got an email about the Super Bowl?
I got an email about Rihanna. Okay, so everybody watched it, and everybody, there was sort of mixed feelings. I know you liked it. I actually thought she did a whole, black girl power thing really well. Screw so
I thought it was it was a very complicated set, but it came off very simple. And you know what? For someone who's with child, to be even just that high suspended in the air, that's impressive. People expected, I think, some sort of wild, twerking kind of Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus thing. That's just not who Rihanna is.
Well, and last year, like J-Lo and Shakira, and they had all kinds of cool things, and I think they're trying to compare it, and so I think she nailed it. But I want to talk about the pregnancy bump, because I saw it right away, and I'm like, ooh, I thought her kid was only like 4 months old, and is this like après pregnancy? Because the uterus goes down way faster than that.
I posted about her performance, and then somebody said she's pregnant. I didn't catch the baby bump, and then I couldn't find anything on the net, so I'm like, I better delete that. I better, edit my comment. And sure enough, within moments, here come all the press releases that, that was her big reveal. I guess in a podcast leading up to her Super Bowl appearance, she said she was going to be there with a very special guest. Wink.
Wink. Well, you know what? And somebody wrote me about it and said, Sue, her kid's not yet 9 months old. How can she be that much pregnant? So here's the stats on this. So they were asking about it. And your second pregnancy, you blossom far more quickly than your first one. But she has to be at least 5 months pregnant. So maybe, maybe 4, if she's showing that easily, and maybe she's 4 and she shows really easily.
Well, and isn't the rule of thumb you don't go public until you're 3 months, right?
Absolutely. So she's no less than 4 months pregnant. So she would have got pregnant right away. Now I have a brother who's a year and 2 weeks younger than I am. And my mother thought that if you're nursing, you can't get pregnant. And that is not true. It delays ovulation, so you're less likely to get pregnant, but it sure as hell doesn't stop you. And there's lots of those Irish twins, right? Siblings that are born less than a year apart. And that happens right after. But if you're doing that, so she would have been, and most women they say 6 weeks until you're able to be sexual again. In my case, like most women I talk to, it's closer to 12. So you're 3 months before your body's able to be sexual again. And you're usually after that before you're able to conceive and produce, and ovulate right away. So she would have been, boom, right when she was available to it and done. Wow. So yeah, she's obviously very fertile. So that's what it means. And it doesn't happen always that way. But once you have one, it kind of opens the pathway for more.
Must take quite the toll on the body too. Well, she's in good shape. So
yeah, more work than climbing Everest in the first 3 months because you're building a brain. So yes, so that was it. So it was a good question. And she came out as F. So F, thank you for your question, Sue at sexwithsue.com, because we can be anonymous about it. And it's quite a thing. And hats off. I hope she has a safe pregnancy. So
there you go. And if you'd like to text the show instead, we'll keep you anonymous, like Sue said. 613-604-6464 in Canada, and in the States, 941-725-6455. Hey, Sue, I just want to circle back to Valentine's Day, and I know that's a big deal, whatever else, but can we just start calling it what it actually is?
What?
It's the foreplay for my birthday. That's what it is.
I thought you said it's just about the heart-shaped brownies that your darling has made for you, which I thought was super cute. I didn't get that, or I wasn't that organized.
It is cute, but I'm just like, I need to get back into a healthy shape, and I got no hope, right? Christmas, and then all of a sudden you're into Valentine's Day, and then it's my birthday, and it's my dad's birthday, and
Yep.
More cushion, less pushing for yours truly, I guess, Sue. All right, you've got a great piece you want to discuss here. Fun things you can do in bed.
I think this is so good. So I've been collecting sort of ideas And some of it was for Valentine's Day, but I think this idea that it's not simply lighting a candle, right? I remember hearing that from clients going, my doctor said, I'm not having much sex. I should simply light a candle. And I'm like, that just makes me want to run screaming into the night. It's crappy advice. So what can you do? And there's this whole thing. I like sex roles. I like, if you really want to up the attraction, it's work on your energies and work on your sex roles. And that means if you're a guy, put on the shoulder pads, do something masculine, grow a 5 o'clock shadow, work on doing, like you go out and, I'm going to fix something. It's doing energy. For women, it's actually
I'm
boundaries.
laughing because my dryer's broken for like the 4th time in as many months.
Boundaries for women, if you say this is how it's going to go and this is what happens, because guys push on boundaries, and if you can put some limits around that and you do it in a way talking about feeling energy, and you wear those, put on pink or wear something far more frilly or far more feminine than you normally would, your partner's like, really, how do we have time for for a little afternoon delight here?
What's the subliminal message there, or not so subliminal message there? Just that I'm trying to change things up. Is that what that's about?
Well, I think it's the idea that you want to objectify your partner. You want to get your sexy underwear on. You want to, start rethinking about them sexually. You want to try things. I always say develop a signature move. I was once on a train from Toronto with the guy that wrote that episode of Seinfeld. His sister was the producer, and I sat beside him on the train about the move, the Seinfeld move where
Right.
he says if he had 2 of them, he would never had to work again. Anyway, really interesting discussion. But that, we get a clip from Seinfeld, where you do the signature move and come up with one that's yours, right? It also signals sex, right? I have dirty words on my fridge magnets. And so I know if the words, of course I do. I know if the words are changed, there's maybe some action in that, right? I have a thing on my Sex with Sue website, which is 50 erotic things to do, right? Everybody's interested in sensation play, cold gel, warming gel, different kinds of things. There's something called fornophilia, which is basically human furniture, using somebody as a footstool, or you're having sex in different places and being transported.
Now we're into my realm. Now we're into the BDSM world, right?
Right. So that part's fun. And to be able to try it on different sides, to understand that the left side of the body is far more sensitive than the right side. So you want to get a feather and just work on one side, not the other. Right. I know, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's to try different things and to know, like I always get there's these soaps you can order on Amazon that are basically writing pencils, but they wash off and they get lathered. I don't know, made with like ink and soap. I don't know what they have. Probably something bad for you. I don't know, because they're on Amazon, but you can write naughty words all over your partner and then wash them off. It'll be good. I'm going to talk about loofahs later in the show, and we can tell you what you can do with the loofahs.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait for that conversation. Weeks ago, you let me know there's a ring I should have been wearing for ages, which I now am, and now the loofah conversation. So that's a nice little tease, by the way, for that coming up. It is Turned On, the podcast. And if people have questions, again, the email address is
sue@sexwithsue.com.
All right, next up, I love our little preamble before we actually roll tape before we actually record the podcast. How old am I that I use terms like roll tape? Giraffe sex is on my list of things that Sue wants to discuss on the show today. Okay, let's talk about giraffe sex, Sue.
Well, giraffes are one of the few mammals that don't go into heat. Like humans don't go into heat. We have, we ovulate, but there is no obvious trigger of when we ovulate. Women will know. I can actually feel it on one side or the other. It feels like a ping. I have a girlfriend who actually can see the egg sac in her discharge. You'll usually have a good hair day. It's 14 days before the start of your next period, but you can't signal to it. But I was saying that strippers get double the tips on the days that they're ovulating because they smell better. They smell different. It's a clinical thing. So giraffes apparently are one of these mammals that don't tell you when they're in heat. So what they do is the male will bend down, and he can only do it because it's dangerous for them because they get low. and he'll kind of nudge her and encourage her to pee. And then it's the scent in the urine only when he nudges her that will trigger whether or not she's in heat. And if like he tries to do this and she's like, piss off, she is not receptive at all.
No pun intended, right?
No pun intended. So that whole thing. So basically they are smelling urine. It's a whole thing. So I was looking at sort of the most interesting things in animal sex, right? Typical garden snails. They're hermaphrodites. They have both sexes. So instead of, what they do is they impregnate each other. So they'll have sex, they impregnate each other. I know. So next time you're about to squish.
You mean they impregnate themselves?
No, they impregnate each other. So they have male and female genitalia, and the other one has male and female genitalia. So they kind of do the original 69, only they're
so I'm impregnating you and you're impregnating me.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? So your typical garden snail. Right. Yeah. All right. So bees, I'm a beekeeper, actually taking my bee course again. I have 9 years.
I've seen you in a bee bonnet.
I know, I'm a beekeeper.
Okay.
Anyway, it's but I'm actually redoing a bee course that I have done, but it's the reminded of the queen goes out and she mates once in her life. She does between 10 and 20 drones, which are the male bees, a day for 4 or 5 days, and then she has enough sperm in her body to lay 2,000 plus eggs a day for 4 years. That's how she does it.
Wait, back that up. She mates once in her life.
Once in her life with probably 20, 30, something like that. How many drones? So she goes out a few days and she's hoping to get as much sperm as she can. And when they impregnate her, it rips the penis off and the male bees die and fall to the ground and they're done. So that's what happens with bee sex. Yeah, I know. And
that was really hot for a minute there until the penis fell off.
Until the penis fell off, right? Yeah. Right. As opposed to praying mantises, which eat their head. And,
there's that. Yeah.
There's ejaculation. And yeah, I just think it's interesting ways to know how to. I know, but I thought the giraffe thing, apparently they couldn't figure it out when they went into heat, and it's all about giraffe pee. So I think
it's the old golden shower,
it's
right?
The old golden shower. That is your unusual sex fact of the day.
All right, next up, going off script for better orgasms.
So they're saying that, the orgasm divide, which is guys they come easily, they come regularly, women, not so much. I met a woman on Super Bowl Sunday at the Super Bowl party who said she has lots of orgasms by herself, she's in her 50s, never had an orgasm where somebody else was in the room.
Right.
Happens more often than you think. And how do you get past that? I like the scream cream and the arousal creams. I think they help, but it's this idea that you need to go off script, and meaning that it's not just the same thing. More women are interested in kinky sex, in adventurous sex than people have any idea. It's also understanding the clitoris, right? The clitoris is more than just a pea-size gland, and it has a gland and it has a foreskin, but the truth or false thing, does it have a shaft? It actually doesn't. So when you say to people, the size of the clitoris is the size of a pea, you're like, no, it's the size of a wishbone, quite thick legs that go down, and understanding that some women are aroused at, 12 o'clock at the clitoris, some it's 3 o'clock, and that is their spot.
Okay.
So I'm always advise people to, take a crochet hook or take a, just a pointer, end of a pen. And when you're with a new partner, just touch them in different spots and go scale of 1 to 3. 3 means
it's like a medical exam, like when they do that little boop thing on your knee.
Yeah, I think you should do that and find out where they're the most sensitive, because often when I've done that,
the playing the doctor thing for this is at the first date, second date, third date. Where does that happen?
I think if you're starting to explore, you should find out if your partner, and I think before 10 sexual encounters, where the spots are that really make them nuts. Ask them where's your erogenous zones. And for women, they will not know. They may not know around that. So it's going off script and asking different spots and saying that their inner lips and outer lips are right at the perineum at the bottom of their vagina, or anally, or at the top of their bum, or right around their vulva. I know one woman, she says she has to have her outer labial lips pulled in order for her to reach orgasm. I have another girlfriend who says if she does not have anal stimulation, she will not come.
So I got a million questions just based on all the facts you just gave us. Beginning with, okay, so I'm amazed that you say a lot of people are much more adventurous and kinky than you think, because I have not encountered that. I keep encountering people just this is uncomfortable for me to even think about going beyond that. And I guess that's where my question is: do people not have great orgasms because they hold themselves back? They get caught up in their minds, and they can't free themselves to get to that point where they're going to have a great orgasm.
Or what arouses them is really scary to them. Like it's taboo, or it's things that like it's non-consensual sex in their head. I'm not ever saying it in reality, but in your head is very different. Like you can have sex with, multifaceted aliens. It's never going to happen in reality, but in your head is really hot.
Well, I don't know. With all these balloons around these days, Sue, there's a lot of possibility to that,
You never know. But the idea is you want to give yourself permission to try it. What I am saying is in, out, repeat if necessary. Kiss, go to boobs, go down, pack a lunch, shove it in, finish, is for a lot of women not working. So understand what is desire, understand clitoral. Somebody says it's, like it's poking the baby hole. We don't want to just poke the baby hole. We want to do other things because most women can't reach orgasm that way. Some women do. So you have to ask. And then it's saying, and for a lot of women want adventurous, and it may not be kinky for you because you're thinking kinky. I'm thinking, I want to do it in different places. I want to have sex rolling around from here to eternity in the beach wash. I want to go up against a tree. My favorite Valentine story was a friend who had her husband made a, basically said, come, we'll have a walk in the woods. She's like, it's cold in February. I don't want to go for a walk in the woods. But he had pre-set up, a sort of a fire and a picnic. And then he had the blanket, the big furry blanket, and they had sex in the woods. And I'm thinking, oh man, like that's all the women I know went, oh, that would be so
a late
great.
night walk in the dog park. And I'm going to tell you, we weren't the only ones around.
So there you go. I bet you if you ask your partner, bet you she'll say it's in the top 20 most memorable sessions she's had, maybe in the top 10. Right? So you want to go ones that are memorable, that are different. And that's what I mean by adventurous. Go off script and understand. And then again, use your pen and poke at different spots and go, does this work? Does this work? How does this feel? And you may feel like your science experiment, so put on your white lab coat and treat it like that.
Okay, but you're really counting on the female partner, in my case, the female partner, to really just let go of everything and just open your mind. Not indifferent to the conversations that you and I have had in the past regarding, what it takes for some people just to get to that point where they can squirt, right? Because apparently it feels a lot like the same sensation when you have to go pee, and they fight that because it feels like pee, and they don't want that to happen. And
yeah, so you have to get a puppy pad and have to have really emptied your bladder ahead of time, and that anything coming out that is not urine, because you couldn't give a urine sample on a dare. So that piece, but it's also to say, all right, I'm gonna be able to. And so for a lot of women, people ask me, what do you do? I'm like, 2 glasses of red wine and some chocolate. Dark chocolate is the best source of dopamine, the darkest that you can have. So dip it some in strawberries if it's not sweet enough for you, and take some dark chocolate. I have a girlfriend who swears by those gummies. She's saying, if you don't have gummies, I can't relax enough. I can't get out of my head, relax enough to do that. So a little bit of THC is apparently quite the thing. And it's actually better for your body than 2 glasses of red wine. So understanding what you need to get there. I want to be embalmed in the Scream Cream. I find it just opens everything up and you're way more orgasmic. So you can go on sexwithsue.com, Google, like there's a search thing, search Scream Cream, the recipe's up there. So
Scream Cream.
Yeah, scream like yeah, have a look and let's go off script and have more orgasms, god damn it, because that's a public service.
God damn it. Sue McGarvie at sexwithsue.com is the website again. And this is Turned On, the podcast, available on Apple, Spotify, Google. And please subscribe. That means you get the latest episodes pushed automatically to your device. And just let us know you were here. Leave us a review, leave us some comments, and rate us if you would. All right. We teased this kind of early on in the podcast. I can't wait for this conversation. Okay, so I should have known about the ring. By the way, I noticed Ashton Kutcher the other night on James Corden had the dark ring on his right hand. They are notorious. He and Mielke was rumored to be very open in their relationship. So I saw the ring and I was like, okay, okay, I'm starting to
Yeah.
see a lot more pop up. So I learned something from you on that. Now, apparently, there's a thing, and I guess it started in Florida,
Oh, of
the
course it did.
loofah sponge.
Okay, so the Villages is they call it Florida's friendliest hometown. It's a large community,
Okay.
20,000 homes, like it's huge.
And what part
And
of Florida?
it's Central Florida, sort of north of Lakeland, kind of in the middle.
Okay.
But Villages, and it was basically a 55 plus community. Well, Florida's considered got the biggest swing community in North America. And they have more swing clubs and events
And
and
yet, I'm on the air in Sarasota, Florida, where every New Year's Eve they do not a ball drop, but a pineapple drop. And anytime I giggle about that, people look at me like, why is that funny? What's like is it just them pretending they don't know? Because
no, I think that Florida is and you're talking about 8 to 10% of the population. And then 8%,
true.
That's what it is. And that's still the biggest group. So it's not everybody. But what's going on is there's this whole new thing. You know the loofahs you get at the dollar store that you scrub yourself with?
Yeah.
They come in different colors. Well, apparently, if you in Florida is a thing that every second person has something attached to their, antenna, mainly because they work at, the Team Rodent, the Disney with the little ears, and they have these little things, these balls. So anybody who's a sort of a Disney employee or a Disney member that has an park pass has these little things you put on their antenna with little Disney ears in different colors and whatever. So
I've done radio contests before where people put certain colored balls or whatever else on their antenna and drive around, hope to get spotted.
This is what
Okay.
it is. It's big in Florida. So if you have different colored loofah sponges on your antenna, it means different things. So if you're white, you're a newbie, you're new to swinging. If you're purple, you're a voyeur. Please let me watch. If you're pink, you're interested in soft swap, which is same room. Soft swap is everything else but intercourse. It's oral, it's touching, I want to play in the same room. Let's just dabble. Blue is full swap, meaning include intercourse, but it means you're newish at that. And you're just like,
So you're still in the same room, your partner, their partner.
Yeah, you may want to be more friends before you're, game on. Yellow means it's for those who having a bit more fun, but or still don't feel like they're full on indiscriminate swingers. Indiscriminate swingers, I met one in a bunch of people when I was at Keto, but the most memorable one was the guy walking around with his wife and an iPad and with his calendar and was booking on the hour. Didn't want to know your name, just wanted to know your room number. And on the hour. I was in Desire, met somebody who
he's going room to room. Hi.
No, he was walking the beach, just saying, "Hey, do you want to play? And what and is an hour enough? And what's your room number? Are you interested?" Like indiscriminate. We're just gonna go. We're gonna go and fuck. That's what they wanted.
I have to get to Hito. Jeez.
I know. And then the second one I met at Desire, and he said, "Yeah, legit." He was talking to me. And he said, "Are you interested in getting a bed?" And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I came with 144 condoms. I fully expect to use them. No offense, but I'm, if we haven't sort of come to a conclusion in 15 minutes, I need to move on. Yep. And I went, oh, and so those people would have a black sponge. So the loofah sponge on their thing would be black. Game on. I'm good for anything. I want to be at the bottom of the puppy, like the big pile of puppies where there's arms and legs, the orgy, the snake ball, whatever you want to call it, the orgy thing. That's them. They're black. So they're blue, yellow, black, different depending on which levels you are. I think that's too complicated, but basically DTF, right?
I just love that there are people driving around with loofah sponges on their
I know. And the last one.
Somebody's got to walk up and say, what is that about? Right.
I know.
And you have to answer it, which, makes the person asking probably feel really uncomfortable. And I love that. Anyway, last one. Go ahead.
Teal means you're bisexual. So, which is good because it's starting, because for a while there was only bisexual women, not bisexual men. But if you have a teal one, either way, if you see a loofah on somebody's car, I'm like, take a picture or send it to us. Like, we have to know. I have not seen it, but there's all these articles about it right now. So I think I may have to. I'm going down to Florida, definitely in April. I may be in March. I'm good. I'm thinking I may have to do a trip to the Villages just to drive around.
I especially can't wait to roll the RV in there now, Sue.
Yes, you'll be very popular.
Fun conversation. Always, we try and get a podcast out once per week, and we really, really, really encourage you to ask questions. Neither one of us are shy about this. Sue comes from the clinical side of things and the life side of things, I'm kind of the silly, goofy, pervy one. Although Sue admits to being pervy as well. But if you've got questions, Sue, how do they get in touch?
Sue at sexwithsue.com. And speaking of pervy, join our pervy book club, the pervy book club. Yes, go to Sex with Sue. There has all the details. It's free and you get a free book and we get to talk about smut. Can't wait.
It's a great word. Sue McGarvie, always a great conversation. I look forward to the next one. Mwah.
Mwah.
Hey, if you got a question for Sue, you got comments on the podcast, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on iHeart, we're on Amazon Music. Ask your smart speaker to play Turned On the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. What's the email address, Sue?
Sue at sexwithsue.com.
Forward to another conversation a week from now.